Hello, and welcome back to my RP-1 playthrough on hard. So now we have the unenviable reality of there being a giant hole. Like this is my comeuppance for a caveman orbit. Is that I basically don't have anything of note to launch for 200 days. So let me look at the lunar flyby contract again. 150. And it gives me, let's see, 7 months. So if the only thing that I needed was the engines, I could invest all my monies and then use the advance from that to pay for the engine. However, there's quite a lot of stuff that I need. And the question is, do I roll the dice again with my stupid god-awful launch vehicle that I have by getting early avionics probes and then doing first solar satellite? Um, doesn't even give me very much. Like, gives me some, but it doesn't give me very much. This one pays a little better, but as we discovered last time, it's quite hard. It is quite hard to actually do it with 5+ kilometers per second of kickstitch. Like if it was less, like if I had a solid that would just do it, then it would probably be fine. But so what I could do is I could do these two first, which would give me baby sergeants. And with baby sergeants, with an 18-second burn time, I would have a reasonable shot at oh, what am I talking about? Of course I won't. It's solids. I won't be able to cut them off at the appropriate eccentricity. So there's no way we're doing that contract for a while. So yeah, I think I'm just kind of hosed. I think I just have to wait and do supersonic contracts and Like, I guess I can use a I can use this to pay for a booster development flight. Hmm. So what order do I actually want to do this in? So if I do that first, I will at least be able to send something into orbit. All right, we'll do it this way. We'll build a another one of my ugly designs, but we'll do the first solar powered satellite contract using early avionics. Right here, because it will use next to no power and it's quite light. Hey, Squirrel. And yeah, that I'm sorry to hear that. That you had an orbiter lander that became an orbiter due to the lander not separating. That's very sad. So in that situation, um, like, is there a part that's between them that you wouldn't mind losing? That you could change its part name from whatever to decoupler by editing your SFS file? You could do that. But if every single part is mission critical, then you can't, like, along the stack. Like, if you're connecting from one tank to another, to an engine or something, then you're, like, I don't, my SFS editing foo is not good enough that I could actually add parts to crafts. I mean, you don't actually need a parachute on Venus. So, sure. Make the parachute a decoupler instead. I mean, heck, make the parachute a decoupler, decouple, and then make it a parachute again. Okay. So I'm going to start. So Squirrel, I am not convinced that it is not necessarily the case that a .craft file and the way parts are set out in a .sfs file are equivalent. Like, unless you've done that before, I would not assume that would work. Like, you can like part module data is equivalent because they're serialized to config node, but the way that a part itself is serialized is a little different. Okay, well, if you've done it before and actually had success, go for it. See what it like. What if you got to lose, honestly, if you back up your save file? This is such a stupid rocket. My goodness.
Hey there.
Hello.
Back to the baby bottle rocket.
Yeah, because I've realized that my best course of action is to unlock early avionics and probes so I can get the next level science core that uses no power, so I can put a solar panel on this and complete that contract.
Makes sense.
And also get some orbital science, finally. Given that my last 2 orbital launches got me basically no orbital science.
Makes sense.
Also, like, given the mass ratio involved, might well be able to make this, like, not have to use the boosters even to get it into over 1,000 kilometers or whatever I need for the Geiger counter.
Yep. Well, that science core is much, much lighter, so yeah, makes sense.
Yeah.
Hey, Thason.
Hey there.
Hello. Welcome. So where are you up to in your save?
Let me rethink. It's been a bit. Right, I was toying around with the Titan 1.5 and basically sending lunar orbiters for the
Cool.
first time since a very long time.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the 1.5 Titan with the 3 LR-87s just work, but I think test flight's gonna have a no on that.
I mean, LR-87s
Basically,
are pretty reliable, so you might be fine.
Yeah, okay. I'm just been simming because well, probe design and everything, kick motors have been forgotten, and yeah, you know the deal.
Yes. Yes, indeed. That reminded. Did you get the extra pads working for the cape?
Yeah, everything's working.
Sweet.
That was just, I think CCAN installs KSC extended, and that.
Oh yeah, no,
around with-
KSC
yeah.
extended is not RSS compatible.
Yeah, so I went manually, and everything's working right.
Cool.
I also lost about 2 hours doing exactly what you are doing right now, because since I installed MLP, all I've been doing is launch infrastructure.
Yeah, it really, like, between that and decals, like,
Yeah.
it's hopeless.
Exactly.
Huh, why is it? Oh, right, there's a bug where the axis doesn't actually update even when you switch to local until after you click. That's a weird bug.
Mm-hmm.
Come on. There we go. Okay, let's see if I can... Maybe this has it. Oh, nope. Wait, why did it not? That's weird. Why is the umbilical length not changed? Oh, that's the umbilical length, not the pole height. Right. That would be why. Oops, that's a little far. It's a toothbrush. It's literally a toothbrush. Pretty funny. Except I don't think I want this on the 45. Yeah, it's super interesting that the rotation gizmo updates when you switch between absolute and local, but the offset gizmo does not. All right, so what do I want to do? I want to rotate. Come on. Yeah, 30 degrees. And free offset. That still looks like, oh, no, I guess that's correct. Okay. Let's get as close to the tank as possible. The electric toothbrush is almost hitting the probe, but not quite. Okay, so now we have a probe umbilical, for what it's worth. Okay, and so Maximal, this is the sort of thing that you would know. Is sorry?
Okay.
Is there a correct point for wait, is it not telling me? It's not telling me the bandwidth. Am I just missing it? Oh, because it moved to antenna planning. That's why.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not used to RA 2.1 having moved it. Like, I think it's over here now. So we want that, and then we want somewhere down here is the DSN.
You don't actually want the DSN though.
Oh, because it's only S-band?
No, because you're putting it in low Earth orbit, so you're not. There's only a few DSN stations.
Yes.
So.
Yes, even if I'm over at like 1,500 kilometers, there's not much.
Oh, true. Yeah, I mean you are going higher, but yeah.
Yeah, but even so. All right, so
Squirrel Patrol, it depends what kind of fix you're making. Like, all the offsets and stuff will be screwy because now they're in more local coordinates, but if you're just changing like some aspect of a part, they are similar enough that you should definitely be comparing exactly what you're cutting and pasting. It's not simple. That's
that was my reaction too. Yeah,
Patrol.
that's why I was suggesting changing a part's name from, like, changing your parachute to be the name, changing its part name from parachute whatever to decoupler. So it like literally is a decoupler, and then you decouple it, and then you turn it back into a parachute.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that will actually work. It's freaky, but it will actually work. All right, so I think that feels like probably the min-max correct transmit power, because that's the lowest end for 16 dB. Sorry, for 16 BPS.
Yeah, I remember usually setting mine down to 23 at low tech but for just low LEO, just talking to nearby stations, not for going up higher. So 26 cents about right.
Well, the issue, like, I could set it way down low. Like, I could set it to 19.
There's not really much of a savings from
20.
going under 20, you aren't really getting anything out of it.
Yeah, I'm mostly concerned with what am I paying to transmit science. So that's 3.8 watts. And then let's quadruple it.
Unless you're hitting
And it's only 9 watts. So yeah, that's...
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, because, I mean, as long as you're within that margin where, like, increasing the power is also increasing the bandwidth, you're fine, because, you'll just pay the extra and transmit it twice as fast.
Right, it's just like, the question I'm asking is whether that's actually a linear relationship.
It's linear but bumpy. Or stepped.
Yes.
You know
No,
what I
I
mean?
know it's stepped, but like as long as it's linear along the steps, then
Yes.
okay.
Yeah,
Because like my impression was that it was not actually linear.
Well, it's not
But
linear, but the relationship between the transmission speed and the costs increase are linear, but like increasing
right.
because the decibel scale is logarithmic, it's it
Yes.
matches that logarithmic curve linearly.
Yes. Yeah. Okay, cool. So this is a different kind of toothbrush than the usual toothbrushes. Although that umbilical is now floating in the middle of nowhere. That feels bad. But I don't know of a part that I can add to solve that, because like I could put a cubic strut there, but a cubic strut will not be tag pad infrastructure, which means I will have to pay for it, and I don't want to pay for it. I really like. I should have written something where KCT will actually like check that literally anything attached to pad infrastructure inherits, but that's hard because you can't, like, you actually have to load the hierarchy. You can't just load the part itself. So, oh well. Anyway, this is fine. We'll build this. 85 days. It will be done and sitting in the done silo by the time we actually research the tech that we will need, but that's fine. At least the VAB will not be idle. All right, so I think we now have, we're right at 0. Oh no, we're at 44. All right, so let's train. Right, so Wanda's already training. That's fine. And I think we discussed last time that it's actually optimal not to wait the whole 120 days.
If it's free to launch the craft, yeah, I think it's not optimal to wait the full 120 days. It's definitely not optimal to wait any time beyond the 120 days too.
Yes.
But I mean that assumes it's absolutely free to launch the craft.
I mean it's not free because fuel costs money, but it's effectively
Close
free.
enough. But I mean, right now your current reward is 29% for waiting half the time, so you definitely should wait longer than that.
Mm-hmm.
But I forget where the break-even point is, and it's close enough to just waiting the specified time that it's not really worth futzing around.
Okay, I can do that.
But I do usually set alarms for just, tell me exactly when that 120 days is up.
Yeah. Where did you go?
Also, are you forgetting to spend your money again?
Yes. Well, there goes that 80 days. Oh, jeez.
I'm sorry.
No, you're 100% correct, and I'm. All right. Well, this is a solvable
Being
problem.
a streamer is hard.
Yes. Thinking is hard. Thinking is very hard. Thinking should be abolished. Happily, because I have this in Git, this is a solvable problem.
Just having it in Git help.
because I can discard changes to persistent and load persistent.
Okay. That is some overkill.
I mean, it's actually because because I feel like it is probably useful for me to act. So, and I thought about doing this on the last career, and then I didn't actually get around to it. Like the point of my actually doing this is so that the craft repository is on GitHub and everybody can grab crafts,
Yeah,
um, and also can like grab the save if they want to poke around in the save or something. But it has the side benefit of um,
it makes sense, but I'm still going to make fun of you for putting
yes.
your save game on Git.
So you laugh, but PJF, who made CCAN, his entire KSP install was in Git, so he could roll back his mod installs.
Yes, makes sense.
Like that is a level of overkill that.
Is that before or after CCAN? Presumably before.
That was both, I
Inspired
think.
CCAN. Okay.
He also has a rule that while he's happy to like work for a living on Windows, he's only allowed to play games on Linux, which means that he has to make all his games work on Linux before he can play them. So I'm sure he remains a happy Proton customer. All right. So I need to start this building. Then I need to spend some money, and then I need to warp. Do these things in the right order. I mean, I hate spending money in real life too. I'm not on Agathorn's level of hoarding, but spending money in a career is, particularly on hard where the rewards are low. It's like, do I really want to do that?
Yeah, but also in hard, you kind of do want to plan out specifically how much money you need to keep around.
Yeah, so I need to keep like 140K for engine unlocks, plus more for the solids. Let me actually look at this. 26K for the AJ10. 90K. So we're at 116. I assume the LR101s will be pretty close to free afterwards. But let's look at the unlock requirements. Oh, I thought it was listed under. Don't we have like an entry? Yeah, I thought that was under unlock requirements, but maybe not. Total cost. Oh yeah, it is right here. Okay, cool. Okay, so it is straight up 8 million. Okay, so it's 34, 124. The solids, 15K for this. My guess is that, yeah. Okay, so of which 10K we'd have to pay regardless. Okay. Tooling. I should probably budget about 20K for tooling. It's going to be my guess. And then however much it costs to unlock the avionics, which it doesn't tell me. That's unhelpful.
Yeah, there's some stuff that's not super good at telling you ahead of time how much it's going to cost.
Yeah, it's probably going to be on the order of like
Just a science core
6K?
avionic?
Yeah, 5-6K.
Pretty cheap.
Yeah. So something like 160. So we can spend, and then we'll get rewards for the contracts. So we can spend we can do 5 upgrades. So hopefully that's correct. Wait a minute. Why is... Oh, did I just load the craft but not actually click the launch button? Probably. Squirrel, yes, all you need to do is change the part name. The modules will take care of themselves. The weird thing will be the resources. But it's parachute, so it doesn't have any resources. So yeah, all you need to do is change that. It may end up being clipped, in which case you'll have to change the offset, the like local positions of things. Well, except because they're not local, they're in vessel space. So you might have to screw around with that. But oh, it's already loading. What am I doing? Wait, what? Oh, I did click load. I just missed the screen message. That makes more sense. Not load, launch. Redstone umbilical pole. There we go. I really need to convert that warning to a pop-up. Also, I think I asked you this before, but you don't happen to know if like something in modal dialogues broke, right?
No.
Okay. Yeah, because creating a pop-up dialogue and telling it it's a modal dialogue doesn't actually seem to block input anywhere else, which is the point of a modal dialogue. Okay, so we're building that. We're doing that. Gonna save in case I screw something else up. Okay, 3 days, that's pretty good. Let's accept this contract, which is now slightly overripe, but that's fine. Let's warp to the morning, because I've learned my lesson in landing in any but perfect conditions. There we go. That's looking good. It's a pretty bright and sunny day for February 13th. All right. Okay, Wanda, you're going fast. Okay, throttle up. Set this up. Two notches of flaps. Engine on. Bureau. There we are. This thing is a pretty hot ship. gotta say. We're like almost, we're almost able to break the sound barrier in a 45-degree climb, fully wet. I mean, again, as we discussed last time, it's because I'm about half as heavy as I should be for that engine. But
Yep.
even so. All right.
Yeah, I don't think they had jets in the 1950s with a max TWR of 1.9.
I mean, they had the jets, they just didn't have the planes. Like, you definitely could have built a small and light plane using a J-57 that would have managed a reasonably high thrust weight ratio. But again, like, that is assuming, like, my actual thrust right now is nowhere near that.
Sure. Yeah.
Like
'cause
wet
you're
wet
at
static
altitude.
thrust. Yeah, wet static thrust would be. But yeah, like, I don't know. So what am I at? 6 tons? Like the Hun, I think we saw was 9 tons dry. Like,
Yeah, but you're at 6 tons,
yeah, I'm 6 tons
almost
wet.
fully fueled.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. No, like well, I'm not terribly fueled. Like
Yeah,
I
but you're
have,
probably at
but
4 tons fuel dry.
yeah, yeah. No, but yeah. Um, Yeah, so like an Avon Sabre was probably only about 5.5 tons empty, maybe even less. I actually so like an F40 Sabre was 5 tons dry. I don't know offhand. See if okay, Wikipedia does have a separate entry for it. Yeah, it was 5.4 tons dry. Um, and it had it had an Avon of 33 kilonewtons mill thrust static, which not actually that far off the dry thrust of a J57. It's just like if somebody had stuck an afterburner on an Avon Sabre, it would have had in terms of thrust, it would have had performance not that far off this. It would not have had the same in terms of speed, just because this is a very clean plane, and also like it actually has area ruling, and the Sabre and the Super Sabre definitely did not. The Super Sabre was supersonic by dint of thrust alone, like, and nothing else. All right, so let me convert over to Cruise Flight Director 330 0. That's pretty cool. I was quite close on the heading just from guessing on the nav ball. I forgot to look over at MacJob. All right, so we'll hang out at a hair over Mach 2. Try to get that Mach 2 science and not go past 680. wish I had a better intake for this plane. My goodness, we're at 40 kilonewtons of thrust at like almost 14 kilometers. That's impressive.
You want a better intake just to look better, or because
Yes.
for functional? Okay,
No,
fair enough.
no, this is a supersonic intake. It's fine. Functionally, it's fine. I would actually be much better served by a stack mount intake, because far counts as hollow all the voxels behind a stack mount intake. With this, I think like it counts this as hollow, but like, or it may not even count any of it as hollow because it's radial mount.
It still counts the intake itself as hollow. From what I've seen from messing with fire dynamics. But yeah, nothing behind it, because it's, I mean, there's nothing behind it. Actually, I'm not sure, 100% sure about that. It might actually be hiding part of your cockpit too.
Oh, come on. I wish it wouldn't bang bang throttle. That was getting really annoying. I assume because it probably has hooks to the stock jet, and this is AJE, so it is confused.
I think you can mess around with the settings for the thrust controller. Under advanced, I think it was.
Oh, yeah.
On the left.
Yeah.
Yeah, right over pseudo flight level change.
Yeah.
You only needed 600, right?
Yeah, I've been trying to keep it a little above, but I'm pretty sure this is only 600. The contract is 450, so I don't care about that.
Okay.
But yeah, this is to keep the experiment running, because it's an 8-minute experiment. Oh, that's interesting. So, use brakes was on and use PID was off. Let's see what it does now. That's a little better. Yeah, that's better.
Oh no. All good, all good. Just scared myself. I had a I had a simulation running, and suddenly MacJump ignites the engines. I wasn't prepared for that because I have the sound on.
Yep, it happens. It definitely happens.
Yeah, it's that Titan howling sound.
Oh
when it
yeah,
starts.
yeah.
That got me.
Yep. I guess I probably should have been higher up to deal with the thermal limits of the cockpit, but yeah. All right, let's climb. Oh, I'm pretty sure we completed. Did we complete the run? Or did I pitch up before it had completed?
Mm.
No, I pitched up before it completed. Shoot, it reset.
Well, you're gonna have to fly back anyway, so.
Right.
Doesn't really seem to be cooling down much, even though you've gone up like 6-7 kilometers.
Yeah, well, it's not going to cool down. It's just it'll get hotter slower. Yeah, I don't figure it'll cool down. It won't cool down until I get under like 350. Because like so in up until hypersonic flight, it's a good rule of thumb that a meter per second is worth a Kelvin of heat of temperature. So, and the interior of the cockpit has a max temp of about 400. So you've got to have an airspeed of like 350 or so.
Sure, but the higher up you're flying, your flux should be significantly lower, but the ability for the cockpit to lose heat to the rest of the airframe and to what you call it? Not convection. I don't know. The one where it's generating IR.
Radiation.
Should be higher, yeah.
Well,
should
yeah, radiation
radiating.
is temp cube, but at this low temp, it's just not. There's just not a lot.
Well, okay, even so, like moving the heat to the rest
Not
of the
sorry, not
fuselage.
cube, to the fourth. That's yeah, worse than cubed. But yeah, conduction-wise, it should be. Yeah, it looks like we're not heating up much anymore, so that's good.
Well, they're also like
Much
200
slower.
150 meters per second. Yeah, slower.
Yeah. Yeah, so I'm like honestly kind of tempted to go subsonic and cool off for a bit, and then punch it again. Oh,
Yeah.
right, I forgot I had my... Forgot I had speed control on. We need... Okay, apparently we need to be supersonic or we won't be able to fly at this altitude, so... So yeah, back on the engine goes.
You might as well try and finish your run and then go down and finish the contract.
I have to speed up because we're not going to be able to maintain over 450 at this, like, now we're speeding up again, but yeah, like trying to hold level, the angle of attack is so high that we're not actually going to hit the speed we need.
Yep.
Yeah, trying to do this at 70,000 feet was not my best idea. All right. Okay, now let's go for 3 minutes and complete the contract, and then we can worry about everything else. And we're sciencing. All right. Okay. And oh, of course that's why we haven't completed it, because right. Because there's an upper limit on the speed.
Oh, yeah, that too.
All right. So we'll get back down to 500.
It's actually cool that the intake color matches your tail color.
Yep. Works out
Squirrel
pretty
Patrol,
well.
there are, you should look through and see, before you adjusted it to be a decoupler, there are probably references to the parachute from other parts that you also needed to fix, so probably need to go through and fix those as well, or it won't successfully find the part references.
Yeah, if you just do a find replace for that string, you probably catch all references.
Quick question before I leave for work. With the tank changes where it now has helium as a pressurant, can you tap off your RCS with that?
Yep. That is one of the main reasons we made that change.
That's helpful.
Yeah, because like that is how Able and Delta oriented after after burnout. Or it was Able. Delta may have had its own supply, but Able for sure used residual helium for orientation for spin up.
No, you guys were doing anything like that. I guess I've not been reading Dev Talk too carefully lately.
Yep,
Cool,
that was the save breaking change, because it resulted in basically every single RCS thruster and every single pressure fed engine not working unless you had pressurant in your tanks. So bye any craft that had RCS.
Cool though. I always thought that was a good idea to do.
Yeah. Yeah, it's super cool how you can tap that off and use it for RCS. The danger though is that you do have to over provision a bit if you plan to use the RCS during the burn, unless you're expecting to unless you're only going to use a little tiny bit of it at the end, because like you'll have some residuals, but like you won't have that much.
So it is consumed, right?
Yes. Yeah, which incidentally is correct, and that's so when this like one of the long-term things that I'm thinking about doing is kind of redoing how all of Ullage works, because really all that's happening when you have an ullage out is that there's like literally that pressurant ends up in your feed lines. So like if we base the ullage sim off how much liquid propellant is in the tank versus pressurant in terms of volume, then we get ullage outs for free, basically.
Is that the case though?
So like you still need an ullage simulation to determine like where in the tank the liquid is.
Sure.
But or conversely, you get residuals for free. Like if you simulate propellant stability correctly, and you take pressurant into account, and you set like there's nothing magical about residuals per se. It's just when your engine flames out and leaves residuals, it's because you had too much pressurant in the feed.
Okay. What's your plane supposed to be doing now? Like, are you still trying to get that Mach 2 thing done?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, I finished the other thing.
You've
So now I'm going up.
the contract?
Yep. So
Okay.
now I'm going up, and we're gonna run for another 2 minutes and 45 seconds. Real fast. And I really need to change the throttling time on these things. Gotta love bang bang throttling.
But the helium in real life wasn't consumed, right? It isn't
Sure
it in the
was.
tank too.
So it's only not consumed if it's a bladder tank. If it's a non-bladder tank, then like so some of it will be consumed, but yes, you're right that based on the propellant stability, probably it will mostly be propellant at the bottom and mostly be pressurant at the top. So yeah, I gotta figure out some way to model that.
So the helium went through the engine and was burned, or what?
So what happened was that like there's always trace amounts of it
Mm-hmm.
being burned, but when the concentration gets beyond a certain point, the engine flames out, and that's what an ullage out is. Is just you ended up taking too much pressure into the feed lines.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I gotta figure out a way to not really consume pressurant.
I thought the way the pressurant works was essentially it's inside of some high pressure vessel. It's usually inside the tank, right? Unless you have some sort of like autogenous pressurization.
Yeah, and it bleeds out of the pressure vessel to replenish when
Yes.
basically as you consume the propellant.
Yeah. So it's not really consumed in the sense that it's leaving the rocket, but for the most part, other than the small amounts you're talking about, but it is consumed in the sense it wouldn't be available for RCS because now it's in the main tank and you couldn't tap off the low pressurant in the main tank.
Right. Yeah. That's what I'm thinking about. Correct.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So, is the mass changed correct then? If it doesn't leave the actual rocket, but we still consume it?
Yeah, we should not be consuming it then. So enjoy the little bit of free delta V that you're getting.
Although considering it's small amounts of helium, it's not that much.
Yeah, it's not going to make a huge difference. But
Yeah, then the numbers are lying, I think, because when you fill up your RCS tiny radial tanks, it's like, I think, 4% of HTP, and the rest is...
then you need to update real fuels.
Helium. Yeah.
I fixed that.
Oh, there was another update.
Yep.
Oh my god. CCAN or GitHub?
Either works.
Okay, because I updated this morning. I have to recheck.
Wait, what? That's that's a bug then.
No, I also didn't fill any tanks this morning, so I have to check in the VAB if it's still it's reporting those numbers.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it should not be. Like that was one of the things that I fixed. Was it should be reporting when it reports percents. Those percents are based on the liters of tank used, not the liters
Mm-hmm.
of not the amount of the propellant or whatever. Whoops. Oh, geez. Oh, come on. I'm going to revert that because that is me not paying attention and ripping the wings off. Because I took the G limiter off because I thought the G limiter was going to do me in, but in fact I needed the G limiter.
You always need a G limiter.
Yes.
Oh no, it's fixed. It's now 94%
Okay, cool.
HTP and 5% helium. Yeah.
Cool.
All working.
Yeah. That was one of the big changes that I pushed.
Yeah, I've also been thinking of balloon tanks and the pressure and to keep up the actual structure inside of the tank. So that's where I was confused before.
Ah, yeah.
Alrighty, wish you a great stream. Have to go to work now.
Good luck.
Yeah,
Thank you so much
catch you
for
later,
coming by.
Olga.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Later.
always a pleasure. Later.
Later. All right, let me see if I can do a better job with this than last time. Grumble, grumble, grumble. Oops, wrong thing. Okay. Where are my landing gear? Okay.
Break.
Yeah, I guess they broke. That's cool. I'm glad that's working. That's pretty cool. I'm glad that is working correctly, although at my expense for, again, not paying attention and forgot to actually rotate. And so that happened. Once more. There we go.
Did you look into fixing anything with that KSP wheel issue where scaling the wheel scales the speed linearly?
No, like, I'm
Okay.
mostly just happy that Shadow Mage is updating the versioning so we can install it without overriding compatibility. But yeah, I may look into forking it and doing stuff.
No big deal. Just
Yeah,
curious.
I'll poke them and see about that, because like I don't think Shadow Mage is going to be working on stuff anytime soon. Yeah, no, it's definitely an issue. There's also the issue of like them rotating in flight, and like at least anecdotal reports of them braking from being over speed in flight. Okay, now the dynamic pressure is low enough that we can maneuver. So let's pull up the cruise flight controller, and we want to go to 330, and we want to go to 13,000, and we want to go to 480. Why is it not climbing? That's weird. That's super weird. Apparently setting an altitude is not actually setting an altitude. So I got nothing.
I pretty much only use AA to smooth out my controls, fly everything
Yeah, makes sense.
manually.
Yeah, I haven't used the cruise autopilot in a while. I've mostly just used the fly-by-wire, but in this instance, to actually hold vertical speed at 0, it's proving helpful. Okay. Finishing our climb out. Yeah, Marsh, you're absolutely right that it would be great if FAR or something simulated control surface actuation power versus aerodynamic limits. And like manual controlled control surfaces, and then hydraulic boosted, and then all sorts of other systems. That'd be pretty cool. Oh, whoops, we're kind of high. $19 kilometers, that's fine. I think we want to be about this height to do the Mach 2 run anyway. Alright, so let's finish the contract and then do the Mach 2 run, and we'll be done. Okay, that part's done. Now we can go up to whoop. Start our sprint. Alright, so we've used about half our fuel. Which seems high. I guess because we had that time on the deck in full burner. All right, so we're about 300 away, so let's make our turn.
And I think you actually had less fuel when you made your turn last time.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I mean, like, consumption dry is going to be pretty low.
Yeah.
As long as I'm at high altitude, which I certainly plan to be. Yeah, Marsh, speaking of flying by trim, like I remember examples in World War II where, something is past critical Mach number, which can be shockingly low, and then like the only way you get out of a dive is by dialing in the trim to gradually get out. Oh wait, what am I? This was stopped the whole time. Arg. But I like with hydraulically boosted control surfaces, like and an all moving tail, like you should be like I don't think you're that limited in terms of the control you can actuate.
Yeah, especially given that the tail should be balanced so that.
Yeah. Like there's going to be some issues just from you being in compressible flow, but with a balanced tail, it should be pretty decent.
Maybe it may be deliberately. I mean, in real jets, it's probably slightly deliberately. Well, I guess until you get to fly-by-wire, of course. It's deliberately unbalanced to make it harder to break your wings off.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, I think you and Marsh are in agreement, and I think that makes perfect sense. So it turns out that you can do 300 kilometers in not very many minutes if you're doing Mach 2. Alright, so I'll finish the run in this direction and then come around and go slower. Alright, there is our Mach 2 science done. So, around we go, one more time.
Well, Marsh, we know that the airline engineers are really good, but not perfect, especially when budgetary concerns get involved.
Alright. Okay. There's the pullout. Down to a little over 25,000 feet. And subsonic. Okay, I think we're actually right about on alignment for the runway. Oh, not quite. We'll get there. That cockpit is just not wanting to cool off. Oh, that's what I'm seeing. Okay, yeah, so the runway I think is probably about here. Because there's Port Canaveral. Oh, it's right there. Okay, cool. Okay. What is going on? That's better. Right, so for some reason, even though cruise flight controller was off, the throttle controller was still running. So the skin of the cockpit is not at all in danger. The skin of the cockpit is rated for like 800 Kelvin. The issue is the interior of the cockpit. And it's because some of the outside heat gets transferred inwards. So the skin was like up at the 600 range probably, and it was just gradually leaching heat inward. And the interior thermal limit is only like 380, 400. So, because like you probably don't want to subject your pilot to much more than water boiling temperatures.
You don't want to subject your pilot to water boiling temperatures.
Right.
Although I guess he's got a suit on. I mean,
yeah, no, like it's
astronaut suit.
Like that's not. Yeah, like one presumes that it's quite comfortable inside, but. Okay, let's get the flaps down. Okay. That was a worse landing than usual, but it's fine.
If your brakes work in time, yeah, they will.
Yeah, they're fine. All right. So, Wanda is home safe. There we go. Four days. Yeah, they're bored of flying supersonic, clearly. All right. So, oh, I know what I screwed up. Well, we'll do the edits together. I didn't put a solar panel on this thing. Okay, let's see how long it will take to actually edit this thing. It's the toothbrush. All right, so delta V right now is 95.63. That gave me less delta V than I expected, honestly.
That's how it changed, but yeah. What was it at before?
95.36. Then it went up a chunk, but we actually want less of a kick stage now because the burnout mass is lower. Solar panels. Oh, that's large. We're going to make you tiny. I feel like I'm making a Kerbal rocket. Solar panels are heavy. Oh, we don't need anywhere near that much solar panel.
Yeah.
Yeah, even that is probably too much. There. Yeah. How much does this cost a tool? That's cheap. That's fine. Okay, so let me think of what time of day I want to launch. I want to launch at about 10 a.m., I think. I think I want to launch at about 10 a.m. Okay. And I can carry rather less electric charge. Save a few kilograms.
I don't think they melt, Mr. Bond, but maybe they should.
Yeah, I don't think solar panels melt. I mean, they melt, but their melting point is higher than you'd expect. Well, that made a huge difference in delta V.
Yeah, it did. Get those non-rechargeable batteries.
Yep.
I didn't know that, Marsh. Do they?
I don't think they do degrade from that. I think the degradation is purely a function of time, which is incorrect, but okay, so we don't actually need much eccentricity for this. That's cool. All right, so we're fine with this level of delta V. All right, we're gonna actually maybe get some science out of this thing. That's pretty nice. So let's see. I don't think we want the early TV camera. That's going to be a little hard. Micrometeorite detector we have. Mass spectrometer we have. Magnetometer. That has a crap ton of data.
I'm not sure you'll be able to power the magnetometer.
Yeah, I don't think so. Not for 30 days, I won't. Not for 30 days. Okay, let's look at electric charge. Consumed is... Oh, right, that's all. That's all lying. Let's look at this again. Okay, so that's 2 watts. And that includes the mass spectrometer that only runs for 2 hours. So I think we'll be okay. So we just have to tool some stuff. Oh, let me actually, so how long? Yeah, it's 1 day of, it's almost 2 days. So that's fine. But let's claim that we're using the antenna the whole time. Now how long does it last? 10 hours. So that's long enough that we'll be fine in terms of being on the dark side of the planet. Okay, so I will pay some money just to tool this stuff that I don't actually need to tool, because I won't launch it again, but it's fine. It will take 12.5 days to build. Let's sim it and make sure that it will be fine.
Gonna have to head to bed now.
Have a
Good
good
luck
one.
with the launches. Yeah.
Thank you. Thanks for
Talk
coming
to you
by.
later. Bye.
Bye. And it's the middle of the night. Oh, right, because we warped. So I'll wait 12 hours. Wow, my liftoff thrust weight ratio is low. That's lower than I thought. Well, let's do it anyway. Yeah, squirrel, it does sometimes happen that you just, everything happens at once. I had that a couple times in the Rusty playthrough before. Oh, we're launching Polar. Duh. Took me a minute. Not on my A game. Let's try this again. At least it's a pretty launch. Oh, I think we probably need higher pitch. Because we have to be over 300 kilometers at initial perigee. Yeah. Well, we'll see what we get. And then I'll submit again. Yeah, also we're pointed directly wrongly. A minute 10, let's go. Okay, so we'll probably end up in something like 300 by 600, which will not quite meet the eccentricity requirement. Let's try again. Here we go again. Nope, still didn't make 300. That's bad. I don't know if we'll get the eccentricity we need for um, the X-ray science. Okay, that worked for what it's worth. That's interesting. Why aren't our gravity losses increasing? Are we not even going to make orbit? We might not even make orbit. Yeah. Okay. Sure. Right. Ugh. I guess we can boost this with a couple Nikes? I guess we'll do 3 of them. Oh, no, there's fins in the way. Alright, I guess we'll try this. God, this is the most curvable possible thing. Yeah, I probably have to just include fewer experiments. Okay, I guess we only want to be 3 hours. Right. Here we go. Could have been worse. Definitely could have been worse. Yeah, so NGNC solids are like double base composite propellant. Double base propellant solids are super high variance. At least the way RF has them set up, because they're early. So RF assumes that they're low tech, which is not necessarily true. Like, Even a bunch of modern stuff is double bass. Let's see where we end up. Okay, so we can pitch over a little bit more than that. Uh-oh. Coming up on Apogee faster than I thought. Alright, so I guess we want to pitch of 0 and go at 1 minute. Rip. So, ACK, this is a simulation with test flight off, so I'm not suffering the failures that I would suffer in practice. There is most certainly not a Kerbal in there. Like, this little thing on the nose is the payload. Unless that was a bitingly sarcastic remark about how Kerbal this launch vehicle looks, in which case, guilty is charged. Okay, so that was about right. Fire the spin motors. There we go. It's funny how much this looks like a Centaur G Prime in reverse. Okay, so we do not have the delta V to use the Geiger counter. That is tragic. That is very tragic. I guess I could launch a second one of these things that has that only has the other experiment. What does this require? Yeah, they both require min eccentricity of 0.04. Okay, so I launch one of these without those experiments. And then I launch a second one of these. Let's see, 9801. Okay, so it'll take 13 days to update. Please don't smile. Ironically, the first rocket that I launched was called Bumblebee. So, oh, I just screwed up. Given that we only have to... Yeah, I just screwed up. Yes, I did. So I'm gonna, now that I've done all that, I'm gonna take the solids off of it again, because I'm pretty sure we don't need the solids. Yeah, we don't need the solids. Maybe. Maybe we do need the solids. Let's see. See if that gets us above 300. Okay. Here we go. Okay, so we should hit a circular orbit, give or take. Though, I guess we need the boosters after all. That's annoying. No, Mr. Bond, it is indeed the case that this is optimized for delta V. If I increase the burn time, the delta V goes down. It's I need all the delta V I can get. It's just increasing the burn time, given the early tech tanks and the low specific impulse on the engine. It doesn't help. All right, so we're going to build a second one of them that has the science experiments. That will launch to a rather lower apogee. All right, don't need you anymore. Okay. Yeah, see, if I put even the tiniest bit more propellant in, then it loses delta V. Uh, 200 days, or at this point, yeah, 200 days. 100 days for integral tanks and another 100 days for the engines. And it's basically, I'm doing this just so I have something to launch meanwhile. Nope, we also need we need a bunch of science to get the X-15 cockpit like I can do the supersonic contracts, but I have to like wait a while between them. Because that's how that works. Okay. The next thing that I need to do is, given, oh, that's interesting. The cycle reliability is super high. It's not actually that high because it's within the first 5 seconds. But what's actually going on is the ignition chance is pretty low the first few. So we'll solve that problem. Okay. Yeah, so here's the bumblebee. Oh, it's a nose cone, it's not a tank. Grumble. .6470. Oh, that's a wrong kind of tank. Okay, what tanks do I have tooled in cheap? Tanks up steel. 3, 2.677. Okay. And wasted. And let's put a bunch of lead ballast in. That keeps things under control. And lastly, we'll just use a bog standard launch clamp. Let's see how this works. Seems fine. And as opposed to like the Nike Nike Deacon, we built a Nike Nike Nike. I mean, we actually could have just done all of them serially, but so that worked fine. That worked completely fine. Sort of tempted to add even more Nikes. Also want to see what happens if we have failures. Here we go. More failures. Even more failures. That was impressive. That's confusing. It said there were ignition failures, but the failure didn't actually happen. That's some kind of weird bug. Oh, I think it's probably due to how failures are coded, where if the engine can't be shut down, then it doesn't shut down even if there's an ignition failure. That's a fun bug. Uh, Luda, that is exactly what I was just thinking. Is we need to change the generic engine configure such that if your burn time is less than 5 seconds, you don't actually get the 5-second penalty, and then you also don't get the bonus. Because like the way I handle it right now is like they don't actually have 98% reliability. They have 98. They have a 2% failure chance. Uh, Multiplied by whatever the increased failure chance in the first 5 seconds is their actual stated failure chance. And the UI is not making that clear because the UI ignores the first 5 seconds. So, all right. I'm like not convinced I actually have to build this now, given how bugged the failures are. All right, well, I guess let's do our launch. All right, so I'm pretty sure we want to do a dawn launch. To get good coverage on the solar panels. I did accept that. Yeah, I accepted that contract. Oh crap, this is actually a fair bit past dawn. Oh right, because I have early bird set for 2 hours past dawn. So we'll warp one more day. That's not quite dawn enough. Because this is March. All right, that looks correct. I guess maybe not quite yet. I guess we do want the sun over the horizon, at least. All right, so let's try now. Okay, there are Nikes. I think it was 47 degrees that we wanted. Here we go. Would you look at that? We didn't even have a failure from them. That was pretty good. Okay. Hey, so if you're just coming by, we're trying to do the first solar-powered satellite contract. Okay, there's the sun. Should be getting good flow on our solar panel. Yep, almost 2 watts. Pretty good. That's pretty good. Okay, I think I want to go at 1:05 this time. Let's see how that works. score. Okay. Okay, EC is perpetual. That's nice. So we're completing this. All we have to do is come back to it in 14 days. All right. Okay. So that's good. And then when this completes, we'll be able to fly an X-Plane supersonic again, which is great. So yeah, on that happy note, thanks everybody for watching. I will catch you later. Night.